Thank you. Our choir looks very well attended today. Good morning and welcome to Pacific Unitarian Church. It is so nice to see you all today. So many familiar faces and so many unfamiliar faces. We welcome you and we are excited to have hosted the Pacific Southwest District Assembly and its continuation on through today. And it's an opportunity to get to know other UU members from other locations. So I hope we all take advantage of getting to know each other. This is a place where we come. I don't know about you, but when I start to cross the parking lot, I get this sense of home. So no matter what's going on or no matter what I'm feeling or what's coming at me, it hits me that this place feels like home. Aren't we lucky? And that's a home that we've made together, because home is not the building. Home is who you find in it. And I'm so happy to see you all today. My name is Tracy Blender. I'm proud to be your worship associate for today. We always try to take a moment to remember that we are gathered in this beautiful building, on this beautiful hill, in this beautiful place. I try to remember that there are people, and I try to remind my grandson as we look out over the coast, that there are people who have never seen the ocean. And yet, we're spoiled. We are also gathered on the unceded ancestral lands of the Tongva, Gabrielino, and Kish Nation people. For now, let's acknowledge and maybe work toward greater education, connection, and stewardship of this land. I have a few announcements, not a surprise. I'm sure by now you all know that you get a QR code to go ahead and look at our newsletter to get everything. And I will not tell you everything, but I'll give you some teasers. For instance, today, right after services and for the next several weeks, headed by Laura Childers, is a table wherein there are donations being accepted to fill baskets. They've only asked for 2 baskets. I'm thinking we could do better. For the LAUSD unhoused people. It's a project that's being headed up, and the next few Sundays, she will answer questions, collect donations to assist in that effort. As well, we have new members each year, which is always so exciting. And we have one service a year where there is the Sunday welcome ceremony and celebration. And this year that's going to be on Sunday, May 31st. So all of you who are new to our community or are on the fence, jump over it so we can see your faces on the 31st. There's also a new members picnic on Saturday, May 30th. And that goes from noon to 3 o'clock. If you're not sure how to onboard to any of that, come ask me, Pastor Joshua, Robin Earhart, and there's more people than I can mention, and I will stop there. And one more. There's one more. No, there isn't one more. That was it. Woohoo! All right. What do you think? All right. So now we are going to go ahead and light our chalice, the symbol of our faith, as we and Unitarian congregations across the world light this fire in symbol of our connection, And now we have our opening hymn. Please stand as you are willing and able, or able. Keep on Moving Forward by Emma's Revolution.
Okay, a little birdie told me you guys have the words to this. Yeah? Everyone has the words? Raise your hand. Woo! So excited. We're gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna keep on walking proudly. Yes, keep on walking proudly. Keep on walking proudly. And never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna keep on singing loudly. Keep on singing loudly. Oh, keep on singing loudly. And never turning back. And never turning back. Gonna keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. We're gonna keep on moving forward and never turning back. Never, never, never turning back. Nice job.
All right, thank you. You may not have noted, well, first of all, thank you to our Spirit of Life Choir and Reverend Dr. Severin Bennin. And I want to point out that many of our colleagues from around different UU congregations who have come for the Pacific Southwest District Assembly are participating in the choir as well. So thank you so much. I'm Pastor Joshua. Good morning to everybody. Good morning. So nice to see everybody here. I do want to I want to greatly thank the planners of the Pacific Southwest District Assembly. Yes. If you know or you don't know, it is supported mainly by Camp de Benneville Pines, which we love. And yes, and the staff, the administrators, and the people who put it together include Dale Botts, who is also helping with our AV back there. Thank you. And Eric and Jennifer. Janet James, who I don't think is here, but Pat Gordon, the president of Camp de Benneville Pines. The Lauras, Laura Chamberlain and Laura Lunn. I think Laura Lunn is here. Angela Ondiorio and Jack McPhee. And from our own congregation, this could not have happened without Melissa Garcia and Janet Kistner. Yes. And all the volunteers, I'm sorry I don't have everybody's name, all the volunteers who ran programs, who helped with food, who did everything, who set up, cleaned up. If you volunteered for the assembly, please stand up And let's applaud you all. Yes. Awesome. And visit Camp de Benneville Pines if you haven't, or even if you have. All right, with that, we'll move on to our moment for all ages, and I'm very excited to welcome Kiki Wiley to read The Crab and the Whale. All of you who are young and or young at heart, feel free to join us down front. Oh, and I also forgot to mention, the assembly gave us that fairy as a gift. So take a look at that for hosting the assembly. It's beautiful.
Mushroom spun. Is it on? Yeah, okay. Is it close enough? No. Well, I don't know what to do. How's that? Okay. Hi, everyone. This book is called Crab and Whale by Mark Pallas and Christiane Kerr, illustrated by James Cattell. It's about a crab and a whale. So Tracy teed me up with talking about the ocean. This picture looks kind of a lot like our cliffs over here in Torrance. One day, Crab was walking home. The tide was out, and the sun shimmered on the sandy beach. Crab had lots of legs, and all those legs meant Crab could run really fast, forward and backwards and sideways. But today, like most days, Crab walked slowly, listening carefully to the sound each leg made as it touched the sand. And then Crab noticed, thud, a whale washed up by the waves. So I have a question for you. Do you think that it would be helpful if the crab yelled at the whale for doing that? No. Does anyone? No. Sometimes people are having problems and other people blame them for their problems instead of helping them. Yeah. And Crab's really little and the whale's really big. So Crab raced over and pushed and pulled and yanked and heaved and tugged and shoved, but the whale was stuck. And Crab realized there was another way to help. Crab said, I'll stay with you until the tide comes in, giving whale's rubbery skin a gentle stroke. You know what makes me always feel better, said Crab? Blowing out a deep breath. Maybe we should try that. Let's all do that big inhale. Ooh. But whale did too big of a breath. So Crab said, let's try that again, a gentle breath. So inhale gently, exhale. And Crab said, listen to the sound of the sea and breathe in and out with it. Oh, sometimes people like to listen to the waves at bedtime.
I like to listen. I sometimes like to listen with my shell.
Oh, in a shell. So Whale whispered to the sea and became more and more relaxed with each passing breath. And as the sun slowly set, they counted the colors in the sky. Wow, what colors do you see in the sky?
Oh, I see in the sky pink, yellow, and like an orange.
Yellow and orange. Peach, pink, purple,
dark blue.
dark blue,
Actually, also
normal blue, yeah. And the sky's reflecting those colors back on the ocean. The whale didn't say, oh, sorry. That cloud looks just like an elephant, said Crab. Do you see an elephant in the clouds? I kind of do.
me too.
We're right in the middle. Maybe it's a laying down elephant. Whale didn't say anything. She thought the cloud looked like a teapot. Could be a teapot.
This is a capital teapot.
And then it got dark, and Crab said, I love the stars. And she stretched up as far as she could. I feel as though I could eat them. Mmm, fizzy. What do you guys think stars taste like?
I think they
Fizzy, spicy, hot?
the books say it tastes star bits. Tastes like honey.
Ooh, honey.
But these are star bits, like a star broken up.
And then yeah. The whale yawned. Has anybody ever seen a whale yawn?
No, I think I have heard.
And they both fell asleep. The next day, the cold sea tickled Whale's tail, waking her up. And as the whale wriggled with excitement, she started to sink into the sand. Oh no. Keep still, the crab said. But Whale wouldn't keep still. Feel the water rising up your body and notice every splosh, splish, and splash, said Crab. And the whale concentrated. The water crept slowly up her dry skin, and then finally, she was free.
Like the little lobster. Can you see a lobster in the shell?
I do see the other sea creature. And then Crab blew out a long breath and stretched each one of her 8 tired legs. Helping Whale had been hard work, but it made Crab happy. Thanks, splashed Whale. You're welcome, Crab laughed. And Crab scurried off home with her legs ticking gently on the sand. So Crab, like I said, Crab is really tiny. Crab is small. If you go to the beach today, if you go to the Cheesecake Factory on the beach today and you look over the wall, you're definitely going to see crabs and sea urchins and other things. And how wonderful that such a small little creature was able to help such a huge animal just in a creative way. So thank you for our story today.
Let's take advantage of that. Is that working?
It's the polka dot.
Good to go. It's a good thing I didn't decide to project and blow you all out of your seats. Okay, now we can center ourselves back into the room, back into the moment, and think about what's been lying in your heart, a joy, a concern. Announcements belong in other places. A joy, a concern, you can share it with us, or you can light a candle. Please come up.
My joy is that I have so many bees buzzing at my house.
Oh, awesome.
My joy is being here this weekend and experiencing the hospitality of you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
My joy is that probably in May I am going to get my hip replaced and I won't need a walker anymore.
Yay. And reset. And over the weekend on Friday, we did a reset in the South Coast Botanic Gardens. Refocused our attention, getting out into nature. So I'd like to bring that here today as well. We have nature visible right here. We're not going to do a whole forest bathing that we did there. But I would like to read the two poems that I read because they felt very prayer-like, and I wanted to share them. And it is Earth Month. And then we'll go into a moment of silence. The first prayer was called Oxygen by Ellis Nightingale. It's quiet here between the trees, and I can almost feel the weight of all the centuries begin to crack and peel. I breathe and rebreathe oxygen, what was and what will be. And for a moment as I walk, it's just the earth and me. The other is by Uli K. Trees talk to each other. Their roots grow deep and wide and strong enough to build an underground support system. Their growth is measured by slow and steady progress, not as a means to be noticed or valued or approved. They stand in simple refusal of anything that says you can't. But I've never seen them quarrel. I have never heard them speak cruelty. I have never listened to them complain about the world and withdraw their worship in retaliation. And I have never come across a fallen limb and thought they must have given up. Because whatever they have left behind, whatever soil or trunk, roots or scattered seed, is rich enough to keep their love from ever dying. Please remain seated for our centering hymn. The Universal Welcome Song by Antoine Arbiso. May it be so. Thank you. So today, as Kiki alluded to in the story, we're going to talk about blame. Blame versus accountability. There were a few speakers at the assembly this weekend, Reverend Summer and Reverend Dr. Ritchie, who talked about the mission of Unitarian Universalism and talked about the history of social justice. And the idea that we Unitarian Universalists have a role to play, have a job to do right now. It's very important. It involves risks, it involves courage and strength. And part of that job is when the government, when this country denies accountability, erases, obfuscates, or erases history because it, quote, makes people uncomfortable, denies the true history of this country. It is up to those of us who live our values, justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, generosity, and love, to stand up and talk about that history and true accountability. Not to blame, but to be accountable. And so, I'd like to do a reading from a banned book, if you can believe it, a children's book. It is from the 1619 Project, which I'm sure you all are probably familiar with, by Nicole Hannah-Jones, Renee Watson, and about the history of slavery in this country, the New York Times Project. You can still go on the website and see it updated. And I found that this reading was so meaningful. I was looking for one of the essays, but I found the children's book called Born on the Water, illustrated by Nicholas Smith. And I decided to read from that. So, if everyone in the audience could come sit on the carpet. Wait, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right. Whoops. The 1619 Project, Born on the Water. Questions. My teacher gave us an assignment. Who are you, she asks. Trace your roots. Draw a flag that represents your ancestral land. Most of my classmates can count back many generations and learn about the countries where their families came from. They draw their flags, but I leave my paper blank. I do not know where I begin, what my story is. At home, Grandma asks, how was school? I tell her about the assignment, how I couldn't finish it, how I can only count back 3 generations. Here in this country, where my parents, my grandparents, and my great-grandparents were born. But before that, I don't know. I tell her that I am ashamed. Grandma gathers the whole family, says, come, let me tell you our beginning. Let me tell you where we're from. I've edited the book a little bit, so if you get it, it's longer than this, but for time's sake. When Grandma tells me, they say our people were born on the water, but our people had a home, a place, a land, before they were sold. 400 years ago, in 1619, our ancestors were taken and brought here on a ship called the White Lion a whole year before the Mayflower arrived. But before that dreadful voyage, there was a time when they did not pray for freedom. Next slide. They had a language. They spoke Kimbundu, had their own words for love, for friend, for family. Next slide. The people were good with their minds, good at math and science. They used shells for money, counting, recording, reading. They knew what their work was worth. And they danced. They danced. I don't know if you noticed, but there was a dance show by Max earlier during the first song. Oh, I wish I could have videoed it. She's a great dancer. They danced, and the people moved their feet. They moved their whole bodies to the melody of horns and stringed instruments and marimbas and drums. They danced to celebrate, to mourn. They danced as a way of worship, to offer thanks. Their bodies a song under open sky and bright sun. Their bodies a swaying testament to the beauty of creation. Stolen. And the white people took them away, kidnapped them, baptized them in the name of their God, stamped them with new names. Ours is no immigration story. Next slide. The white lion. Some could not bear the pain. They refused to eat. They shut their mouths until their hearts gave out. Others tossed themselves into the real eternity of the Atlantic Ocean. Into the teal real eternity of the Atlantic Ocean, swimming one last time with the ancestors. Sickness and hunger, filth and cruelty took the others, almost half. But those who did not die resolved to live no matter what. Packed in dark misery, strangers chained together, head to feet, hip to hip, in the bottom of a ship called the White Lion, they saw that these strangers, men, women, children, kidnapped too from many villages, these were their people now. These many people became one people, a new people. And that is why the people say, we were born on the water, we come from the people who refused to die. Point comfort. Finally, the ship stopped moving and the people were dragged to the deck. They closed their eyes against the light of a sun they had not seen since Mother Africa's coast. They closed their eyes against the sight of a land that was not theirs. They cried a silent cry as white men spoke strange words talking about their bodies, and with a handshake traded another's child, another's mama and daddy, 20 to 30 beloved human beings in all, for a few pounds of food and drink. 400 years ago, in the year 1619, the white people called this land Virginia. A sweet-sounding word for a place of such pain. A sweet-sounding word for the place where American slavery began. How to make a home. After a long day's work planting tobacco in the fields, after brutal treatment, after nothing to show for their hard work, sadness would come, a longing for ndongo, for the mamas, for the daddies, for the friends they could no longer hug and talk with under the warm sun. We are in a strange land, they said, but we are here and will make this home. We have our songs, our recipes, our know-how. We have our joy. We will love, laugh, sing, and hug our children as tight as you could hold a child. We will survive because we have each other. And the people learned new words for love, for friend, for family, for joy, for grow, for home. As Tracy mentioned in the beginning, home. We are in a strange land, they said, but we are here and we will make this home. We have a determination, an imagination, a faith. We will survive because we have each other. Is there one more slide? Yes. Okay. Resist. Life was hard, and it would get harder for the generations to come. White people told the people they were not human, that the people were things to be bought and sold and given as gifts alongside horses and chairs. When the people were beaten, they said the people did not feel pain. And when they sold the people's children, they said the people didn't love. These were lies they made up. as they could feel okay about slavery. So they could feel okay about slavery. It is wrong, always and forever, to own human beings. It is wrong, always and forever, to treat human beings like things. The people fought back for 250 years. The people resisted every day, in ways big and small, for 250 years. The biggest resistance of all was that the people kept living. We need to read those stories to ourselves, to our children. We need to be accountable for history. It's not just okay to erase things so that we can feel okay. In the end, without true accountability, we won't heal, we won't be okay. What's more, these stories inspire us. So, earlier this year at the BAFTA Awards, I'm going to turn my mic on and walk down here. Can you all still hear me? Yeah. Earlier this year at the BAFTA Awards in the UK, something very jarring happened. I'm sure you heard about it. Right? As Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo took the stage, a man in the audience, John Davidson is his name, who lives with Tourette's syndrome, shouted a racial slur. As per usual, it was all over social media and news coverage almost before the final syllable left Mr. Davidson's mouth. And just as quickly, something else happened. Something else spread. Blame. People who were not there, who did not know this man, who had never read a thing about Tourette's syndrome, who knew nothing about award show production, suddenly they became experts in neurology and event planning and moral philosophy. Wow. He's a racist, and the BAFTAs didn't take proper precautions, they shouted. And then there were others who stepped in to defend this. To defend what happened, explaining that Tourette's and the phenomenon or the tic called coprolalia, which is an involuntary neurological tic that some people with Tourette's have that cause a person to shout offensive words without intention or control, coprolalia. And they explain that. And now I'm not saying that the people who are criticizing that the criticisms were entirely wrong. I'm not saying that. Especially in the West, as you see, white people have racist conditioning. We all have racist conditioning based on how we were raised, our culture. And the BAFTAs, too. They likely should have taken more precautions. I mean, knowing there was a person with Tourette's, with coprolalia, in the audience, representing a film called I Swear, you'd think they'd have been clued in. So I found myself sitting with that moment, not only as an observer, but as someone who also lives with Tourette's syndrome. My own tics, though, are much subtler than that, many not detectable. I don't have coprolalia. I don't experience coprolalia as much as I'd like to. Okay, I totally ruined the setup for this, but I'll try it again. I don't experience coprolalia as much as I'd like to blame angry outbursts at home on that. Okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. But the incident stirred something in me, not just empathy. It stirred a question. Why are we so quick to blame? And perhaps even more importantly, what do we actually accomplish when we do? Now, I want to be clear. Harm matters. Words matter. Impact matters. When something painful or offensive happens, it deserves attention, it deserves care, and it deserves a response. But blame, especially the kind that is online and immediate and absolute, although it makes us feel that we are doing something, we're outraged, but we're not. In fact, most often we're making things worse. And when we make uninformed judgments, nothing can change for the better. But when we take a pause, then we encounter what is almost always the more complicated terrain. For instance, if someone who does something involuntary, is someone who does something involuntary really responsible for their actions? Just a question. If a deaf person doesn't hear the screaming of someone dying, are they guilty for not getting help? If someone with Kluver-Bucy syndrome, a very rare neurological disorder that causes uncontrollable hypersexuality, responsible for their pornography addiction? I'm just asking. These are tough questions. These are not easy questions. They are the kinds of questions philosophers debate and lawmakers wrestle with. And blame, however, rather than addressing any of these questions, usually ends up distorting them, moving us even further from healing. Blame gives us a target, it gives us a story, but it does not necessarily give us understanding or prevention or transformation. So why do we do it? Why is blame so instinctive, so satisfying, so persistent? Well, psychology offers us some insight. Scarlett Lewis of the Choose Love movement summarizes it in her article called Why Do We Blame? When something confusing or painful happens, our minds reach for order. It's natural. We need a clear cause, a clear culprit, a clear narrative, and blame provides that. It creates the illusion of control in moments when we feel powerless. Blame also distances us from discomfort. Well, we don't have to feel bad. If they are the problem, then we are safe. If they are at fault, then we don't have to examine ourselves and our systems and our complicity. Blame is, in this sense, a kind of emotional shortcut. It reduces complexity into a single digestible conclusion. But shortcuts often come at a cost. Because when we reduce complexity, we also reduce truths. Unfortunately, in the United States, blame has been elevated to a cultural thing. It has even become institutionalized. It is embedded in our media and in our politics. Lewis's article highlights how news coverage and public discourse often focus on assigning fault for the sake of a sensational narrative. And this further divides people, and more blame is thrown around, preventing deeper understanding of root causes. And at the highest levels of our government, the default is deflection, to take no responsibility, to make excuses, to lie, and to blame others. Most politicians in our government right now assign a blame that both stokes and satiates fears at the same time. Makes you afraid and makes you feel better when you are afraid. Specifically, fears of white displacement through what has come to be known as the Great Replacement Theory. Entire groups of people are then reduced to caricatures. Complex issues are boiled down to bogeyman words representing all that is wrong. Words like, woke and DEI and CRT and Antifa and fake news, they're weaponized against the other. These words are meant to place blame for the country's ills, or I should say to redirect blame, avoiding any accountability so no one has to feel like a bad person. They offer this easy answer to hard questions. See, this is why things are broken. Woke. Although these terms do have specific meanings and refer to legitimate and beneficial processes and programs and frameworks, the majority, if not all people who use these terms in a derogatory manner cannot define them, either what they actually mean or often even what they have come to represent. And that's just it. They represent. And let's be honest, this is not confined to one political side. While the intensity and scale may differ, the impulse itself is universal. We all have our shorthand, our labels, our moments of collapsing complexity into blame, of thinking, well, obviously they're the problem, and terms like MAGA or the right can become containers for everything that we fear or reject. Blame is bipartisan. It crosses ideologies with remarkable efficiency. If only cooperation worked that well. Considering inward. But as Lewis argued in her article, blaming others comes at a cost. It reduces personal responsibility and ultimately diminishes one's sense of control and power. While it may temporarily relieve stress, it often increases anxiety and prevents any meaningful solutions. So blaming others is ultimately unhelpful. It's harmful even. And the writers of this creation myth in the Bible knew this, and they warned people against blaming others. And our Unitarian Universalist tradition does not leave us there. It directs us toward responsibility, toward reflection, toward transformation. That is what it requires of us. We are people who affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and that includes people who frustrate us, people who we disagree with, even people who cause harm. We are a people who commit to, so advocates for a shift toward personal responsibility and constructive action. Because taking responsibility, she writes, even when something is not entirely our fault, can restore a sense of agency and open the door to positive change. And this mindset encourages responding with empathy and responding with love and problem solving rather than finger pointing. So what might that look like in practice? Well, first, we can become mindful of our language. Language shapes thought more than we often realize. In English, we tend to frame events in terms of agents, right? In Lera Boroditsky's essay, Lost in Our Criminal Justice Bent, toward punishing transgressors rather than restituting victims. When our language constantly emphasizes who did it, we're primed for blame. But when we allow space for what happened, we open the door to understanding. And this does not mean avoiding accountability. It means broadening our perspective by the language we use. Second, we can practice accountability without being defensive, without defensiveness. This one is hard. I'll share a personal example. Recently, I found myself in conflict with an organization. I felt wronged. And I had evidence. I had arguments. And so we exchanged emails. Carefully crafted explanations of this is why you're at fault, why the other side was at fault. But at some point I realized nothing was changing. I was focused entirely on their mistakes and proving I was right, which I was. The situation wasn't improving. The relationship wasn't healing. That's what's important. And I was not growing or making anything better. So when I finally turned inward, when I asked, okay, what was my role? What could I have done differently? What can I do going forward? Then something shifted. Excuse me. Certainly they were at fault for some things, but so was I. Accountability, it gave me agency. Taking responsibility allowed me to move because blame had just kept me stuck. Third, we can focus on causes rather than culprits. When something goes wrong, we can ask, what conditions made this possible? What systems contributed to this outcome? What can be changed to prevent it in the future? That's what they could have asked at the BAFTAs. This is the difference between punishment and transformation. You see, blame asks, who do we hold responsible? Responsibility asks, how do we make this better? Now, if we were to apply these principles at a societal level, well, the solutions might sound almost simple. Our leaders, like Trump, for instance, all he needs to do is be more mindful of the language he uses. Or refrain from blaming, or undertake corrective behaviors like being accountable for his actions and mistakes, or carefully consider solutions to complex problems. Easy peasy. It's a sad thing that those reasonable suggestions are now the punchline of a joke. In reality, these shifts are simple to name, but they're profoundly difficult to live for any of us. But to truly live our values, we have to shift. Instead of blame, we respond to harm in ways that acknowledge impact without ignoring context. So the next time we feel that familiar urge to blame, to label, to reduce, then we can pause and we can ask, is this helping? Is this moving us toward understanding? Can we hold both accountability and compassion at the same time? There's no quick satisfaction of pointing a finger, but there is something else on offer that's even greater: the possibility of doing better next time. And that is where we find hope. Because while we may not control the tone of national discourse, we do have influence over our own words and our own actions and our own communities. We can choose to interrupt cycles of blame. We can choose curiosity over certainty. We can choose accountability over defensiveness. We can choose love over fear. And we must choose all of those things if we are to truly live in our values and transform the world. We choose love over fear, not as sentimentality, but as practice. We choose love that is willing to stay in the complexity of a situation. We choose love, just tell him I'll call him back after the service. Thanks. No, I'm just kidding. We choose love that refuses to reduce people to their worst moments. We choose love, and by the way, that's happened to me a million times, so I don't mean to blame anyone. It's happened to me countless times, even in this sanctuary. So I'm just as... Love that refuses to reduce people to their worst moments. Love that seeks not just to assign fault, but to cultivate healing. Beloved community, we live in a time of deep division and real harm. This is not a call to ignore that reality. It's a call to engage it differently, to move beyond the reflex of blame and toward the practice of responsibility, to replace the language of enemies with the language of shared humanity, to build a culture, not of accusation, but of one of our values, transformation. So may we go from this place committed, beloveds, not to being blameless, but to being accountable, not to being right, but to being in right relationship, not to winning the argument, but to healing the world. And in doing so, may we discover that what we truly needed was never someone to blame, but a way forward together. May it be so.
And I will not blame Pastor Joshua for that wonderful, albeit longer, reflection because I had a great joke for you for the offertory, but I'm going to have to skip it. We are grateful for your continued gifts and for experiencing the gift of giving as your ushers come down the aisles to collect today's offertory. please stand in body or spirit for our closing words today. This beloved community is dedicated to the proposition that within all our differences and all our diversity, there is a unity that makes us one, a bond that holds us together in spite of time and death and the space between the stars. We rise in silent witness to that unity.
May the blessing of love be upon you. May love's peace abide with you. May love's presence illuminate your hearts now, forevermore. So be it. Amen. Ashe. Salam. Shalom. Namaste. And blessed be. And now our service truly begins. Please stay for the postlude and then join us for brunch.
you.